Now, where do you find geographically? Do you find the more metropolitan it is, the easier to receive that message and to receive that education? Or do you actually find the reverse? The more rural it is, the more they need the education. Which one does it really play out?
Yeah, I think doing prevention in rural, and it's what we call, it's not rural. It's like a smaller city, I would say, but we're outside the Atlanta area, which is considered to be rural in terms of the state. But I do find it is. I've always worked in the Savannah area primarily, so I don't think I know it's doing work here. But I would say that it's more of a challenge doing the work here in Savannah or in a smaller city or rural quote unquote area because of the stigma, the homophobia. Again, Savannah is a very conservative community. Many of the folks still believe that HIV/AIDS is they equate it to sin, that it's a bad thing, and those are some of the challenges some of the barriers that we contend with every day when we're doing prevention.
Right.
So I really do believe that because of where we are, in the Bible Belt, and in the conservative moral values that are predominant in this area, it makes it harder to go in and do prevention. And we certainly have not been able to get into the school system yet, because again, it's the stigma, the homophobia that is so pervasive, and the ignorance that is still out there after 30 years. We have a lot more to do.
And it still amazes me, even today, like you said, 30 years later, we're not trying to teach this young generation who didn't see the epidemic in the 80s. And what I've seen now, there's a new epidemic really in the South, because here in the South, we're just not educating and training, and that's why your organization is so important to that education level. We've got to get out there to these kids, and while they don't let you into schools, I let you in the schools in a heartbeat if it was me. So,
yeah, actually, that decision to allow prevention education or what we call comprehensive education is a decision of the local school board. It's of that superintendent who can decide whether or not to allow comprehensive educational programs, which would include, safer sex education as well as abstinence curriculum or abstinence education. But it has to be a combination because, like you said, we do need to reach our youth. We must reach our young adults, young persons, and it starts in the homes and in the schools and all the partners working together, community-based partners such as My Brother's Home and forums like that, teen centers, churches, synagogues, temples, whatever. We need to have a combination so that we reach these persons early on, so they have the right information, the correct information that could prevent them from becoming HIV positive.
and I think you made it a great statement when you said it's a team effort. It takes everybody to do it. Everyone's got their role, the home, the school, the nonprofits, the person on the street, the moms and the dads, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is so true. I mean, that's a great way to put it. Now, I know you said you started this on your own in faith, but I know faith is a wonderful thing, but it doesn't pay the bills necessarily. So how do you get all this done? I mean, how do you achieve all this?
Well, we have a board of directors that basically manages and ensures that I'm doing my job as the co-founder and executive director. And we have a wonderful team, a wonderful staff. I have a wonderful staff who works with me, alongside me, and an advisory board who works right there with me, advising me on programmatic issues and ensuring that we're doing the right thing as it relates to clients, as to what their needs are, what they want. But we're funded. We've been fortunate enough. We've been very grateful enough to have applied for funding from the State Health Department, the Department of Community Health. And we also receive monies from the Kaiser Permanente Foundation, and we have from the great city of Savannah here. So we have, and then of course ongoing fundraisers. We have donors who give to us, volunteer support. So we are just privileged to have most of our funding coming from the State Health Department, as well as the city of Savannah, and again, Kaiser Permanente Foundation of Georgia, which are our three main primary funders. But we just do it because we got it. We got it that way now. But we always looking for help and support. So if you or the audience wants to support us, please contact us.
Do.
Please contact us.
Send the money, right?
Send the money, and
So
it's tax deductible.
And give your organization website.
My Brother's Home is www.mybrothazhome.org. It's mybrothers.home.org.
Okay, so Mark, I know that with every organization, there's always challenges. And with every organization, there's successes and failures.
Right.
So tell me some of your greatest challenges, some of your greatest successes, and I don't think y'all failed at anything, even if you tried. So, so focus on those two for me.
Now, we have to be honest. We have had some challenges, I think some barriers, or areas that we need to improve upon, and that is again reaching young people, and reaching the diverse audiences other than just men. In particular, we've focused on men who have sex with men over the years, and although that nowadays that population is that group of persons are not only having sex with each other, but it's also intermixing or kind of indirectly involved with other persons. So we're moving away from just one behavioral risk group into other groups or risk group, other populations such as women, and working and trying to get more into youth and young adults, and working within the incarcerated populations too. In the churches, the faith-based groups is also very important that we've had some challenges in terms of breaking through and getting into. And then also being in the South or being outside of the Atlanta area, what we call a small city or rural area, we have had challenges with garnering a diverse amount of funding or support, financial support. There's only so much for support we get here in the Savannah area, and we always looking for donors. You know, funding has been a big issue, and we're hoping that somebody will see this, that will look at this and be willing to write that check out again,
Big one.
make that tax deductible donation to help us continue the movement, because we don't want to be primarily dependent upon one source, one financial stream. So that has been a challenge with us in terms of diversifying our funding and continuing to break away and to reach diverse behavioral risk groups.
So what have been successes? What can you say? I'm proud of this. And there's probably a list.
The successes, again, things that God has been good. We've been around nearly 10 years. There's a success.
Congratulations.
I mean, anytime you can be around for more than a year, 2, 3, or 4 years of nonprofit environment, I think you're doing pretty well. So the fact that we're going into our 10th year next year, 2010, to me is a success. And I'm actually sitting here on HIVtalkshow.com talking to you, Alton. I look at that as being a success too, because again, it affords us an opportunity to reach the masses, people around the world, that we wouldn't have the opportunity to do that if it wasn't from you coming to Savannah to allow us this opportunity. And then I've been blessed to reach so many people in doing this work here in Savannah and throughout this district, health district, with terms of empowering them, encouraging them, providing them with hope, with giving them some information. And I know that we prevented one person from becoming HIV positive, and we've also linked at least one person in the last 9+ years into getting them into care and treatment so that they can live a long and productive life. All the successes that we've had, Alton, is that we're the only organization outside of the Atlanta metropolitan area that is really has a focus primarily on men, specifically minority men. And so we're grateful to have be one of the very few community-based organizations that is funded by the state right now. Actually, I think we're the only one that's funded by the state outside the Atlanta area that is focusing on the needs of those men who are disproportionately have been affected by this disease, and that is gay and bisexual men of color, including African American men who have sex with men. So African American men who have sex with men, including those men who are gay and bisexual, who self-identify as being gay or bisexual.
Right. Can you tell it for our audience, just so I know, there's a difference between a man having sex with man group and the gay man group. What is that technical difference?
Well, the African American, if you're MSM or African American man who has sex with another man, you're basically describing the behavior. The focus is on the behavior, because an individual may not want to identify as being because of homophobia, because of internal fears and stigma that's related to HIV/AIDS. So rather than saying gay or bisexual, we often just describe the behavior, that if you're a man having sex with another man, is really you're truly, most people would say that you're homosexual or bisexual.
Right.
But so it's really looking at the behavior in one perspective, and then looking at the labeling from the other